Actually, I'm gonna try to remember this exactly. We started this in 95. We've been doing this ever since. It would have been 1997. We went to work with a company here in Phoenix, Arizona, which is where I live now. And we said, what's at the top of people's list when it comes to wishes about their health or their well-being or their lifestyle or whatever? And I'll never forget, Ron and Susan came back to us and they said, oh, if we could just feel better, if I had more energy. We've talked just briefly about what 2020 has been like, and we're going to leave it at that. We're not going to go there. But boy, people are saying, man, I was locked in and I couldn't do this and I couldn't work out and so forth. I love talking about energy. Now, you notice our words: optimize, minimize, maximize, and then we went on to equalize. And now we're going to revitalize. But probably as I say it, we could have just said energize, because that's really what we're talking about here. Now, I want to tell you that there's at least 5 or 6 things that come to my mind right off the top of our head that we need to at least mention. But again, then we're going to focus on one. Part of this, of course, is the way we eat and the way we drink and even our timing. As a matter of fact, if you happen to look at the magazine that Andrew and Nancy have put together, and that kind of got this whole project started, take a look at the magazine, and I'm sure on step 5, the first thing it says is close the kitchen at 7 o'clock at night. What in the world does that mean? Well, we are going to be talking about timing here, because we probably don't need to eat as many hours in the day as we have in the past. But you know what we're saying? See if you can get away from eating at bedtime. As a matter of fact, just absolutely make that an absolute. If you need to go through the 5 days, say discovery, close the kitchen at 7. And again, here, and this is going to challenge your thinking, but I promise you, if you want to have something after that, it should be protein. One of the first times we did a program like this, a woman came up and said, I eat something healthy before I go to bed every night. I said, what is it? She said, popcorn. I said, popcorn's healthy. It's also a pure carb. So guess what's happening? You're putting a bunch of carbs in your system. Insulin has to fire up to come and take care of those. A few minutes later, it's all gone. The insulin's going, now what do we do? Who do we attack next? You're lying there at 1 o'clock in the morning and you can't sleep. It's those carbs. They did it to you. Well, I'm not against carbs. So what we're saying is there's some little things that we can do. Now, this one, I know I don't even have to talk about, but we got to move. Hopefully the weather cooperated so that at all time in the past few months, you've been able to move, you've been able to get up, you've been able to walk, you've been able to bike. We've got to move. We certainly have to stand. We've discovered in the past few years, so many people's ailments are related to the fact that they spend most of the day sitting. And I get that. And you got a keyboard and you got your hands, and look under my shoulders, Dad. When I put my hands up to the keyboard, oh my goodness sakes. And then I wonder why I go home with a stiff neck at night. Isn't that crazy? Well, what are we saying? There are so many things that we can do to help us with energy. I'm going to focus on one, and then I'm going to come back to my favorite energy drink. I'm going to tell you something that may not make sense to you, but it has made sense to me for 22 years. I'll never forget when I first met Pam Grout, because her book was called Jumpstart Your Metabolism Through the Power of Breath. And Pamela had done such great research. It said, folks, we breathe just very poorly. As a matter of fact, there's probably lots of adverbs we could say about the way we just don't breathe sensibly. little short breaths and make kind of stooped over and so forth. So Pamela talked about waking up in the morning before waking water, maybe have a waking breath. Never taught that, but it might be worth it. There is something I do want you to do, along with the fact that you're going to have a beverage about 30 minutes before you eat a main meal. Take time for some deep breathing. It doesn't have to be more than a minute or two. And you know how to do it. You breathe in and fill the chest, and you breathe in through the nose so that your system can do all of the filtering and make that air as clean as it possibly can be. So you in through the nose and you fill the chest, deep breathing, and then you say, well, I want to do a better job than that. You can even go lower if you're standing or lying, and you can fill the abdomen. That's even better. Fill the abdomen with that breath, and then out through the mouth. Well, you see, we are not giving you a course here on breathing, but if this makes sense to you, we like to give resources, and I don't know, that's 22 years ago or whatever, but I'll bet you could find a copy. I'll bet you could get a copy. Jumpstart your metabolism through the power of breath. I also want to go back to the man who did the research, and he and his wife told us that what they found is people wanted energy. And this man had some incredible exercises, and one was called chopping wood. And he literally would stand with his arms outstretched like he was holding an axe, raise his arms above the head, taking in a breath, and then come all the way down through the legs as if he were chopping wood. And Ron did that 5 to 10 times before he got ready to have a meal. And I know you're probably saying, well, why are you telling us this stuff and not teaching it? I'll make you a promise. You get a hold of the person who brought you these tapes, told you about these tapes, or get a hold of us, and we'll put this into a working manual for you. I sure will, because I believe so much in this, especially the idea of chopping wood. Thank you, Ron Frank. Bless your heart. But let's bring this all to a little conclusion as far as the Revitalize. Prevail just continues to excel when it comes to products. And some of these aren't new, they've been around for several years. But I want you to realize that this kind of a box is very important to us. We have a box like this in a more of a yellow color, and its product is called Trim. And this is a product that helps with our cravings and with our appetite and all of that. And I've talked a couple of times about the immune boost, but now I want to talk about this. And the good news is, if I hold it up like this for you, I can kind of read the ingredients back here. I can read things like natural cherry powder, natural blueberry powder, natural flavorings, a natural caffeine comes direct from the coffee bean, maqui berry, green tea powder, go-to cola roti. Where would you go to get this kind of a cornucopia of all of these good things? With so many energy products on the market today that are packed with sugars and saturated with artificial ingredients, here's a breath of fresh air. And it really is. And I want you to get creative, if you will, with all of this. I don't necessarily tell people they should drink sparkling water, but quite frankly, I don't think there's any proof that a serving or two of this is bad for us. Again, as long as it's just a straight water, a bottled water. Well, I love Pellegrino. I always have. And in the store the other day was dark Morello, cherry, and pomegranate Pellegrino. So I opened it up a couple hours ago. Julie said, "You ready for the recording?" I said, "Oh, I'll be there." Had a little bit. Took my energy packet. Opened it up. Now I have to watch, because if there's too much of the bubbly in there, I can get a little bit out the top. But I shook this up and I'm still feeling the energy. I am saying. So what are we saying with all of this? We're saying when it comes to talking about even the different products that you're going to try, chances are you'll be like nearly everyone we've worked with, and you're going to have some of the incredible coffee. I can't imagine that you would get started without your Emulin. This is truly the product. I don't know even how to describe the 3 products that we have from Dr. Ahrens. So you're saying, Ron, that's 3 products already? Yes. And you can talk to the person who's helping you with all of this. But there's just, you might want to just get some, maybe the person that you're working with has got some energy products and they'll trade you out for some trim products. See, in other words, let's work on this together. Or let's get 6 products and get the incredible saving that goes with us. All of a sudden, my mind tells me I should kind of just tie this together before we move on to number 6. Remember I said way back at the beginning, for some of you, this might all be pretty new, especially the product stuff. Well, that's okay. We've got a lifetime to learn these things. But for some of you, you already know what these products can do. Now you're really getting excited because you're thinking, wow, I can optimize my hydration and I can work on the inflammation and improve my metabolism and my eating and all of that kind of stuff. Okay, how do we make it work? I told you that all the way back to the beginning, we were saying to ourselves, how are people going to apply this? Most people will say, okay, that's good. Yeah, I've seen that stuff before. Okay, that's good. Next. No. Let's make it work. We call step number 6, realize mind power. Now, that might seem kind of corny to you, but we're going to define focus. We're going to tell you in even more detail exactly how we're going to do it. Isn't this fun? So many things we can do to improve our health. Let's come back one more time.